language. He says to voice without swallowing, syllables born in tin shacks. So once again, he's saying all people will contribute to this image of South Africa. And here we have the poor. And then we have to catch the 5:15, Ikwata Bust 5 Johannesburg train. And suddenly you hear this different accent that he includes. And he's going to reflect these honestly in his poetry, because this is the reality of South Africa. And then to reach the low chant of the mine gang's mineral glow of our people's unbreakable resolve. So the mention of the miners, those people who have struggled and worked for so long and on whom so much of the wealth of this country depends. And then this final line, the low chant, the sounds, the singing of the mine gangs, the chanting. Do you know chanting? Like when you say something over and over again, it becomes a chant. It's like a rhythmic repetition, like a chorus in a song. And it has a mineral glow reminding us of South Africa's wealth from gold and platinum and diamonds and all the rest of it. And the glow suggests the wealth, the richness, but also the spirit, because he's going to come here to our unbreakable resolve. So we have here the natural resources of our land, and he's reminding us of who has dug them up, the wealth that comes from those natural resources, but suggesting that there are many people who do not participate in that wealth, and reminded that this is the courage, the determination of our people. I think specifically we are thinking black people, but I think he's also trying to include all South Africans to say, if we resolve together, if we resolve is to make up your mind, to be determined. If we do that, then we can achieve so much. And he wants to celebrate that as well. And finally, he repeats, to learn how to speak with the voices of this land. Now, what's interesting to notice in this poem is that there's not one complete sentence. Now, that is unusual because poetry is usually written in grammatical sentences, and there's not one complete sentence in making that into an exclamation mark in this poem. And I think what he's trying to say is he wants to learn. He is looking for the best way to express South Africa, but he hasn't found it yet. Therefore, fragments, not one sentence. And if we look at the verbs that he uses, he says he wants to learn, to parse, to catch, to trace, to visit, to bury, to write, to understand, to voice, and then finally again, to learn. These are all infinitives. When you say to plus the verb, it's an infinitive. These are all infinitives. They are telling us what he wants to achieve. This is his goal. In order to be able to create a real South African poem. And to do this, he has to do all of this. He must really come to grips with what it is to be South African, and then he'll be able to write a poem. The poem is written in free verse, so it has no regular pattern, but if you read it out loud, it's a beautiful poem to read. It has its own rhythm and its own flow, and the honesty and the commitment of Cronin to this determination to what he wants to achieve is obvious. Let's think about the